Welcome. So having kicked this playlist off a few weeks ago, I've then not recorded anything. I've been contemplating where to start. Where's the place to begin? Where's the conversation to begin? And I thought actually it might be helpful to share some context in a couple of videos that give you some insight into how I see people and how I see relationships, because they're going to provide a bedrock, a grounding, a foundation for probably lots of the conversations we're going to have through this series. So, this first one is bringing in a metaphor which I first heard from Michael Neal. I don't know if he's the originator of it, but he's the one who I heard it from. And it really resonated with something that had always felt true to me and which I hadn't quite been able to articulate. And this metaphor is about the fact we're all a diamond. So we are all already perfect. We were born perfect. We were born with the absolute perfect design to do what we're here to do in the world, in all respects, in all aspects. And that has never changed. But that over time, that diamond has become covered with horse shit. Oh, by the way, I swear. If you don't like swearing, this probably isn't going to be the channel for you. So this diamond over the years has become covered with horse shit, the crap, the human conditioning. We have all experienced highs and lows. We've all experienced delights and upsets. We've all had situations that have left us feeling devastated or disappointed or upset or angry. And I would guarantee almost 100% we've all had those difficult experiences and not had the loving support of somebody right there and then in that moment to help us through that situation. Most of us didn't grow up with emotionally intelligent parents who could be present with us. They would generally react, resist, try and shut us down, send us to our rooms, tell us we weren't getting our dinner, other variable threats, or they would in fact ask us to explain ourselves. Why have you done that? You shouldn't have done that. What were you thinking? What on earth was going on in your head? We got judged and we got criticized. And so we shut a whole bunch of stuff away. We shut a whole bunch of our natural self away behind this conditioning of this horseshit that feels like crap, literally. And then what we did, because the world taught us, we then layered that horseshit over with nail varnish. So from those early experiences, we started to think that somehow we were bad or wrong or not enough or not lovable. And to compensate for that, to try and hide that fact, because we thought that was the truth, we covered it over with this nail varnish effort of personal development, of justifications, of explanations, of conceptual ideas of who we are trying to be, conceptual identities to try and compensate for the horseshit we thought we were. And as you could imagine, if you try and cover horseshit with nail varnish, that's an ongoing job. That's not oh good, I've done it. Complete, wonderful. Now everything's good. It is the equivalent of painting the Forth Road rail bridge. So for anybody who's not familiar, the Forth rail bridge out of Edinburgh that crosses over into Fife, it's a steel, incredible steel structure, but which requires constant maintenance and upkeep to stop it from rusting, requires constant painting. And so when they get to one end of it, they have to then go back to the beginning and start again. So the same with this metaphor. This nail varnish isn't a one and done thing because we're trying to cover horseshit with nail varnish. It's a constant job, it's a constant effort, it's a constant battle, really, to try and keep the horseshit hidden and cover it over with nail varnish. It's why most of my clients come to me saying, but I'm so capable, I'm successful, I've achieved so much, I've done so much, I know I'm good at my job. Why is this now showing up? It makes no logical sense. And no, it doesn't, because from the level of the nail varnish, that level looks like but I'm good. I've got it together. But behind that, this horse shit that you've managed really well and kept under wraps really well through your career starts to break through, starts to smell, starts to show itself. And that's when we get the feeling that something's wrong, something's off, something is falling apart in our life, something is causing us problems that makes no sense. It's because the nail varnish is cracking. Like there is a limit to how long we can keep painting the nail varnish on for without the effort and constant requirement of that causing a break of some kind. It's to me, it's why midlife is such a great opportunity because it really is midlife crisis, is the cracking of the nail varnish, is the running out of nail varnish to paint on. And in doing that, great, because now it's exposing the horse shit, and now we can actually do something about the horse shit because it's not who you are. Who you are is the diamond that's underneath that horse shit. The shit was never who you are. That crap was never who you are. And although it can feel comfortable and familiar, it also feels rubbish. In fact, I saw an interview the other day where the interviewer was actually being really open and honest and sharing with his interviewee his own personal experience of his inner negativity, this like doubting and this critical voice. And he actually said, well, I kind of feel like I'd be being disloyal or mean to this inner negativity if it wasn't there. Like if I was to want to try and get rid of it or change it in some way, it feels like I'm somehow um like being hurtful to a friend or losing an important part of who I am. And that's what keeps so many people stuck because they think that that crap is who they are. They think that crap is inevitable and that the best they can do is paint nail varnish on it. Whereas it is, in fact, possible to remove the horse shit. So you don't have to live with it. You don't have to keep experiencing it. You don't have to keep painting nail varnish on it. And in the removal of that, what remains is the diamond. What remains is that brilliance, that natural brilliance that you really are, that just got lost through the rough and tumble of life and in the innocence of a child who just couldn't handle some of the big experiences we had back then. We're little people in this big world with these other big people who are telling us what to do and how to do it and how we should do it and how this is wrong and da, 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 da. Of course that affected us, and of course we didn't know what to do with it other than push it away and turn it into horse shit. And of course then we didn't know anything better to do apart from paint it with nail varnish. But when the cracks in that nail varnish show, amazing. Because then you get to take proactive action to do something about it. And so all of this to say that this is the truth of what I know human beings to be. We are all the diamond. We have all, I've yet to meet a human being, but as far as I can see, we have all collected horse shit over the years. And the vast majority, particularly those who are capable and who have often gone into big senior jobs, leadership jobs, corporate jobs, entrepreneurial leadership, often they're the ones who have been the best at painting nail varnish on. But there comes a point when you just can't do that anymore. It doesn't work anymore. And again, to me, that's a gift because that brings you back to the opportunity to return to the diamond that you are. So I hope this gives a useful context as to who I know I'm talking to when I'm sharing these videos. And in fact, what I know from my past experience in leadership development and culture development, exec coaching, that was the belief that I held at that time. But it was a belief. I didn't know it to be true. It was like yes, that feels right. I don't know why, but that feels right that that's who we are. Now I know for absolute 100% sure that's who we are. 100% absolute, guaranteed, no question, no matter who you are. And I really mean that, no matter who you are in the world, everybody is that diamond. Everybody has collected horseshit. Everybody has painted on nail varnish to try and cover it up. And so what I saw when I was doing leadership development and culture development and exec coaching, as I say, this was prior to my 100% deep knowing. It was a belief, but it was still enough for me to see that when people settled down, when they took a moment to pause in coaching or in any other context where they stepped out and they took a minute to become aware of how they were operating and how they were operating within a context of a team, the diamond just shines through. The diamond comes forward and knows that, oh, I'm going to do my best when I listen to my team. I'm going to do my best when I can be humble and admit that I'm wrong and say sorry and talk through what we can do next instead. I know that I'm going to be best when I can stay connected to a purpose that's bigger than myself. I know that we're going to do best as a team when we can be open and honest in our communication and challenge each other as well as support each other. All these diamond qualities show through, and it doesn't take very long. It doesn't take very long for somebody to slow down, step back, and recognize what they know already great looks like. They know already, you know already what great leadership is. You know already what a great team and a great culture is. But what tends to happen is that in that you have that amazing experience in the coaching or in the development process, and you're like, oh my God, yes, so clear, so fired up. I'm on it. This is definitely how I'm going to move forward. And then you step back into the world, back into the busyness, back into the frenetic requests and demands and stakeholders, and the shit comes back round again. And so you go back to painting on the nail varnish, often turning the truth of the diamond into a new nail varnish story. So it's not the truth of your knowing, it's a watered down version painted on the surface to make it look acceptable while not really feeling it. That's why, again, clients often come to me saying, well, I get it logically, intellectually, I know everything there is to know about leadership, but embody it, live it, actually be that around the office in my day to day with my clients, my customers, my suppliers, my stakeholders in my day to day. Well, that's a different story. I can't live it. I can't embody it. I can't carry it out of the coaching session, out of the classroom into my life. And that is purely because until that horseshit is removed, it will just keep coming back round. It will just keep covering over that diamond, and you will go back to painting the nail varnish on the top until you remove the horseshit. Then you get to actually embody that diamond self that you know yourself to be. That one who does show up in the coaching sessions, who does show up in the leadership development, in the culture development processes, the one that, yes, will show up sometimes in the workplace. But if more often than not, the horse shit is there and you're having to work hard to paint the nail varnish on, you're going to be fighting a losing battle. Remove the horse shit. Now, your coaching, your leadership development, now they all take on a whole other level of momentum, of implementation. Because now it's diamond insights meeting diamond delivery. Those two together are what are needed to move forward. That's a big part of why I've created this series. Because I know that the reminders from the outside of, well, just check in, what is your purpose that you care about? Just check in, what is your best leadership? Reconnect for yourself to how do you want to show up for this meeting? Who do you want to be for this interaction? All of that, those reminders from the outside are so useful. And even better when they're speaking to the actual diamond, both not being filtered through the nail varnish or the shit, and also not subsequently being covered up by it again, then the diamond message lands in the diamond and you move forward as that diamond, living it, being it, breathing it, being that identity in the world. Until you remove the horse shit, it's just going to keep coming back and you're just going to have to keep working hard painting the nail varnish on. And so maybe this resonates. Maybe you've seen this for yourself. If you've been coached, if you've been part of any kind of personal development, leadership development, culture development processes, transformation programs, you've perhaps seen how clear you are in the session, how clear you are in the meeting that provides you the environment and the context to drop into your diamond self. And perhaps you've seen that return of the shit as you go back to efforting and trying and pushing and forgetting to listen and forgetting to take a moment to reconnect yourself and the team to the purpose and forgetting in the busyness to actually take a pause and a breath and go, okay, what's important right now? Until you deal with the shit, those things are going to keep coming back again and again and again. But the great thing is, that shit is not who you are. It is entirely removable. And then you are a diamond moving in the world, hearing the diamond messages and living them, breathing them, being them, embodying them. As far as I can see, that's exactly the kind of leadership we need in the world right now. Any questions on this? Any thoughts, any insights, any of your own perfect, incredible experiences that you've had? Do share. You can get in touch through the website. You can drop a comment here, whatever feels right for you. And I'll be back next time with another of these foundational understandings or paradigms in terms of how I see things, and which will, as I say, form the basis for these conversations we're going to have going forward. Much love to you. Have a great day and catch you soon.